Don't be satisfied with the stories that come before you. Unfold your own myth. Mavlana Rumi. Along this path, we have a choice to make. Whether we decide to make our own hero's journey towards the direction of our soul, towards the direction of our predestined path, the purpose of us being here, what truly drives us from the inside, that fire that lights up our soul. What is it that ignites that within you? During this lifetime, we are met with challenges and obstacles that push us, and it is up to us to take the steps to climb that mountain, step by step, along that hero's journey, in order to understand and piece together the aspects of who we truly are at the core. Because when we go on these quests, we are venturing beyond more than just the physical. We are venturing into the realms of the spirit. We are activating parts of ourselves that correspond to different land masses, that correspond to different pieces of architecture, and different energies and different ley lines. And the different sacred sites respond differently to every single individual. And what truly signifies the start of a pilgrimage, of that soul's pilgrimage, is once you reach a crossroads in your life and you find yourself not sure where to go, you find yourself asking questions with no answers and no idea how to get to where you want to be. And sometimes we don't even know where we want to go. But we have something that calls to our soul. We have a journey, a pilgrimage that calls to us. Because what we seek is also seeking us. And it can come in the form of a whisper. It could come in the form of a message from an individual, from something that we read in a book, something that we hear in a movie. Whatever it may be, whatever synchronicity that comes into our life, it brings with it a message for us to take that step and embark upon that journey, that soul's journey. Once we do that, everything begins to change. I'm Cody, and I help people to activate their divine consciousness codes that will ignite their heart ablaze and open the door to limitless possibilities. So what I want to talk about here is what truly makes up a pilgrimage of our soul. And I also wanted to touch on the 7 stages of what makes up a pilgrimage. So what I want to speak on is, what is the point of a pilgrimage? Why make a pilgrimage? In ancient times, it was a part of an initiation, a rite of passage, if you will, for us to make this pilgrimage of our soul, to embark upon this journey to something higher, to something greater than ourselves. Because what we are seeking is truly meaning. And at the root of everything, we are trying to understand why we are here and the purpose of us being on this planet, and us being and existing. Each of us have an individual set of gifts and talents and abilities that make up who we are. And this goes back to the axis mundi, which is the center point. It's the tree of life, basically. The center point from which all life is derived and from which all life comes from. It's the origin of who we are. From that point of origin, we expand out into the forest, and each of us are interlaced with different roots, systems, and different tree influences, and different plant influences, and different things from the forest, different aspects of the forest that shift and change who we are on the surface. And as we near the grove's edge, is what they call it, we often forget who we are. We forget that connection to the center point. That connection to the center point is what connects us to everything that is. And the whole point of a pilgrimage is to get back to that center point, that axis mundi of ourselves. But what we find in a lot of these parables and these stories, such as the Alchemist, the Celestine Prophecy, the Odyssey, these are all great examples of the hero's journey and what they go through in order to get back to who they were. But as they go through this journey, it unfolds and they begin to step into a different version of themselves. They begin to evolve and grow. And as they come back from this journey, they bring back a new aspect of themselves. So they essentially come back a different version of who they were when they left. They come back renewed, revitalized, and reborn, basically, like the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. And oftentimes the irony is that what we are truly seeking is inside of us all along, or right in front of us from the start. But we have to often go away and go on a journey, a quest, to find something deeper, a deeper meaning, in order to bring that back to ourselves, in order to understand a deeper aspect of ourselves, to break outside of this culture, this programming that we are subject to. Otherwise, we are going to stay stuck in these cycles, in these patterns, and especially if we are around family and friends and people who are tied to the old aspect of ourselves, they're going to continue to reinforce that old version of ourselves. So as we try to step into something new, a new story, and we try to create a new version of ourselves, it's like we're constantly pulled back down, like the crabs in the bucket analogy. You put crabs in a bucket, and as one crab tries to get out, the other crabs reach up and pull the crab down, back into the bucket. And it's this repetitive cycle, so the crabs never actually get out of the bucket, because when one of them tries to get out, the other one pulls them down. And that's what happens in life. Oftentimes, the people that are closest to us pull us down without realizing it, because they are tied to an old aspect of ourselves. They are tied to an old story that we have. And we are tied to that old story as well. We are attached to that story. We have years and years and years of programming that if we do not break and we do not reprogram ourselves, then we're going to stay stuck in that cycle, in that pattern. The point of the pilgrimage is to uncover an aspect of ourselves. Because as we make this journey, we are going to go through a series of tests and obstacles and challenges that are going to push us into the depths of ourselves. And we're going to have to dig deep within in order to pull that out and harness that, and then bring that back with us into our everyday lives, to incorporate that into our new version. The whole point of the pilgrimage is to bring back the sacred within us, to bring back a piece of the sacred from the journey itself, the whole aspect of the journey, and becoming fully present. As we embark upon this journey, it's not about the journey, it's not even about the journey itself, but the presence that we have as we go through that journey. What do you hear in the moment? What do you see? What do you feel? Like, truly feel the energy. Truly observe and look and feel and smell and just tap in as deeply as you can to these ancient monuments, these ancient architecture, and even being out in nature and taking walks and going on these adventures that we go on. It's important for us to truly bask in that and to be present, fully present and aware of what is happening in that moment, to truly take it in, to show up and to feel that energy. That's where the magic happens, and that's where the gifts truly come. In those moments, we often receive downloads, we often receive visions or insight or things that will lead us to the next stage of our journey. I like in the book, The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield, he talks about how basically he's in search of these 10 manuscripts in Peru. And as he goes through this journey, he begins to meet various people and find different aspects of that journey. As he goes through that journey, he begins to connect different pieces of the puzzle, and it comes across as a synchronicity. So as he is in this foreign country, he might meet somebody that reminds him of somebody that he grew up with, or he might see something that reminds him of something else, which gives him insight to the next piece of the puzzle that he needs to get to the next stage. And every manuscript that he finds of these 10 manuscripts leads him to the next phase that he needs to go through, the next stage of the journey. And it's a metaphor, but it's also very powerful in the principles that it teaches, the spiritual principles, and tapping into that energy and being able to really see and feel that energy in your environment and the people that you're around, and to allow that to guide you, to feel from the depths of your heart and your gut, and to embody that, to step in, to have that presence, so that we can carry ourselves, or rather that presence, that energy can carry us and guide us through this journey, this pilgrimage. And lastly, what I want to touch on is, I will go more into depth later on. I'm not going to actually touch on these yet, but the 7 stages of a pilgrimage that is spoken of in this book, The Art of the Pilgrimage, which is a great book if anybody wants to check it out. It's by Phil Casina. I don't think I'm saying that right. But it's an incredible book, and it talks about the art of actually making the pilgrimage and going through that journey, and what it truly means to step in. And that's where I've gotten a lot of the inspiration from, because I've been inspired by that as well, to make this pilgrimage for years and years growing up. I felt like I had this calling, this longing is what it speaks of, is the first stage of the pilgrimage. I had this longing to go on this pilgrimage, but I didn't know what that meant, or where, or when, or how. So, I knew in my heart that when the moment came, I would step into that and I would know. And recently, I've been called to go to Egypt, and that is where I've been called to. That is my pilgrimage that I've felt. And it called to me earlier at the very beginning of the year. It was a feeling like I had never ever felt in my life before. It was so strong. It was like something that was, it was just something that I knew that I had to do it from the depths of my soul. It was like I could feel it in every inch and every cell of my body, just flowing, this energy just pouring in, and like this voice just speaking to me constantly. It was like a constant thing, and I would have these dreams, and I would see all these synchronicities from shows and movies and things talking about going to Egypt, and it was just blowing my mind. So what it refers to in this book, The Art of the Pilgrimage, the universal round of the sacred journey. It talks about the seven stages, and it references John Bunyan as he goes through this journey, the pilgrim's journey. So the first stage is the longing to go on a journey or a pilgrimage towards something higher. The next stage, number 2, is the call to actually go, and to, like, you're being pulled into this journey. The next stage is the departure. So actually making that leap and taking that step, the first step up the mountain towards that new aspect of yourself, essentially. The 4th stage is the pilgrim's way. The many obstacles that you face along that journey and what it brings out within you as the pilgrim as you journey through this new stage of your life. The 5th stage is the labyrinth, which is basically the obstacles, and like going through that, everything's really flipped upside down, and you're going through this this new wave, this spiral of energy where you're stepping into something new. Next stage is the arrival. And lastly, bringing back the boom. So what you got from your journey, the medicine and the experiences and the lessons that you acquired while on that journey, how were you able to bring that back to yourself and incorporate that within you? Another thing that I wanted to mention here is questions. Asking questions is the start of inching us and edging us towards that pilgrimage. Questions tune the soul. I want to break down the origins of questions. So there's quest and ions. A quest from medieval Latin terms is broken down to a thing sought out, a question. And then ions is like electrical charges, electrical atoms within our body. But upon breaking that down further, the etymology of ion, the word itself, means to go. So a question, a thing sought out with a question, and to go. The questions drive us towards this quest, towards something higher, this new pilgrimage, this new aspect of ourself. As we ask more questions and we step into that, we begin to discover a new aspect of ourselves. So thank you for being on this journey with me, my friends. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I love all of you, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future. If you're looking to go on your own hero's journey and step into that in your own life, please feel free to check out. I have coaching below, and I help people to step into that, to harness that fire within so that you can unlock your fire codes and step in and harness the true full potential within you. Take care. Peace. Love. Namaste.